get fucked up.
Nah, it's not. You're not functioning on 20 minutes of sleep. It's just a pickup nap in the middle of the day, a midday nap. You know, you don't want to do a midday nap longer than 20 minutes. What up, people? What's good? Salute.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Salute to the tribe. We're hip hop and comics and hip hop. We're a niche channel. Reserved for the best. It's super dope. I do sell comics. Check me out on Instagram at 6th_element_comics. Yeah, because comic books are the sixth element of hip hop. What's good, y'all? Sixth element of hip hop. I'm your host, Reno Noir. This is your co-host, Stu Dog. What's good, Stu?
Peace.
It's like we got two sides here. We got the Wu-Tang side and the Mando side, but it ain't like that. We just rocking Woo Wars Wednesday, man. We're gonna talk about what's good, Slade. We're gonna talk about the Mandalorian season 3 is finally here, episode 1. Hell yeah, we waited like 2 years for this. It's crazy.
Too long, actually.
Hell yeah, way too long. And then they hit us with a short little episode, but hey. What we got something, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at all. And then we got The Bad Batch season 2 episode 11 also dropped, and some cool intertwining developments. There's a little bit of there's a connection there we're going to get into between the Mando and episode 1 and The Bad Batch 11, and then we're going to talk about the Wu-Tang Clan, the Tang An American Saga, season 3, the final season, episode 5. We're gonna get into that. Hell of an episode. Everything is great. All 3 of these shows are great. What do you think, Stu? You liking them so far? All 3 of these?
Yeah, so far, man. I've been getting my money's worth out of my TV.
Hell yeah, Disney Plus is charging the hell out of us. But they bring in the content.
We'll see. Really charges next year, man. It's gonna be over $100. It's gonna be $100 next year.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. And hopefully the content matches the price, because right now it don't. But when we start getting some of these new Star Wars shows and Marvel shows that are being cooked up right now, hopefully, they start building, because Marvel's going to be ramping it way down and Star Wars is going to be ramping it up. So Star Wars will have more shows and Marvel is going to have a lot less shows this from now on.
But I just read an article about that too. Marvel's going with the quality over quantity theory. Right. That's their new mission objective.
I'm glad.
And Star Wars, I am too. And Star Wars needs to do the opposite. We need more quantity, and the only thing they got to do to give it more quality is get better writers and budget. That's it.
Yeah,
the stories are there, the things are there. They just, I don't know. Get rid of Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, long as we got Dave Filoni doing his weird. Listen, Dave Filoni's the biggest Star Wars nerd, super geek, and that's great because we need a super nerd to keep things Star Wars, because Disney, they just didn't know what Star Wars was. They thought that they were just buying an IP, some characters that they could make up some stories with. That's not the case. Star Wars is a ready-made story. You gotta work within the parameters of the story. You can't just make up shit with these characters with laser swords. I think that's what they thought. They were buying laser swords and Luke Skywalker, and they could make them do whatever they want. And that's not the case. Metaphysics, what's good, broski? But yeah, Mandalorian is back, and you know what that means. Season 3, episode 1 is a concentrated burst of entertainment, showcasing all the best bits of Star Wars. You got the laser gun shootouts, the soaring space battles, and tentacle faced pirate captains. Is this still Star Wars? But yeah, it is. After season 1 and season 2 of the Disney Plus series were influenced by the cowboys and gunfighters in the Western spaghetti Western genre that Mandalorian is really based on. Season 3, I'm not gonna say the whole season, but this episode sort of touches on the Pirates of the Caribbean deal with a little, a little swashbuckling little pirates. And I was hoping that we would get what was their name? Not Frack, not what was his name? Hank, not Hondo or Naka from Clone Wars, the pirates. But no, we didn't. We just got the what we got. But the episode. So okay, so before we get into the chapter, this episode, let's remind ourselves where we were up to, in the Mandalorian thus far, because with Grogu in the finale of season 2, Mando dropped off Grogu with Luke, and that was it. And they're back together now. So you might not know why unless you watched the Book of Boba Fett, where the best episodes of Book of Boba Fett were actually Mandalorian episodes that basically told about how Din and Grogu get back together, and they're hanging out together again, and Grogu's back riding with Din. And then we start season 3 of Mando. So the 5th episode of Boba Fett series. That was episode 5, right, Stu, where they explain why Mando and Grogu got back together, and they're traveling the modified version of the Naboo, the N1 starfighter that we saw in Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
The yellow starfighter. All right, so that episode also reveals a chunk of backstory about Mandalorian sect, the Children of the Watch. And that's that faction, that sect, the one that Mando is from, and why they left Mandalore. And the new series opens up with a brief recap. We get a little recap showing the IG-11 self-destructing in a battle with the Imperial troopers, and then this shows season 1 finale. And then the story of that droid voiced by Taika Waititi, we can see, is not ending there. Excuse me. Okay, so as for the show's other major characters, the villainous Imperial Moff Gideon was carted off to the New Republic to face the War Tribunal after his capture. And then Cara Dune is no longer a marshal, having been recruited by the Special Forces, and that's where she's at. And that's great because Gina Carano's public dust up with Disney and the whole thing where they fired her over some bullshit. They could have just said she was dead or something disrespectful. So it was at least cool they gave her a cool send off. I guess she's off with the Special Forces now. So that's where Cara Dune is. And so this episode 1 opens up with the sound of the blacksmith, right? The armor banging away, and like the Mandalorians themselves, their Beskar armor is forged in the fire and repeatedly beaten until it's shaped and molded into what it needs to be. And their leader basically is the armorer, is the one that makes the armor and all that stuff. She's the blacksmith, and she's building a new helmet and painting it or coloring it like a turquoise and like a bright blue, and carries it onto the beach where there's a foundling. And this is the sect. Remember, this is the where different helmets have different colors, and that sort of denotes different titles and preferences of the wearer and different ranks and things like that. And this is the sect where they do the ceremonies, and they're very traditional, and they cannot remove their helmets. Once they put the helmet on, they cannot remove it in the presence of any sentient being ever again, or they lose their Mando ship. And they're called the Children of the Watch, right? And you've got the big Gatling gun guy, and that's Paz Vizsla, and he's out there chilling. You see all the main characters, and the youngling, he says, he's standing there, and he looks really cool, Stu. Didn't he? He's like standing there and he looks all badass, and then he opens his mouth, and I don't know where they got this actor. Whose son is this? Who whose son, whose grandson? Because this kid cannot act. I mean, he opens his mouth and he's like, the words of the creed shall be forever forged in my heart. It's like, oh, bro, he looked so cool standing there, like, oh, and then he opened his mouth, but the youngling is there, and he says that, and but he never actually completes the vow that he's supposed to keep, and because they're a giant, let's call it a giant, it's like Bowser, it's a giant alligator snapping turtle. It's like a giant snapping turtle with an alligator's head, but it's massive, and it hops out of the water, and it's eating Mandalorians and tossing them all over the place, swallowing them and shit. And these are the guys, these are the real hardcore, Mandalorians. These are the guys, they never remove their helmets. And the reason that they don't do that, by the way, I'll just give you that little tidbit, because there's a reason why they don't remove their helmets. It's not just because it's based on, like, so that their numbers remain anonymous, right? You can recognize a face. You see a couple of faces, and you keep seeing those faces, and but you just see these Mandalorian helmets. You never know how many there are. You never know how many you just saw. You don't know if you saw that one twice. You know what I mean? It leaves them to be able to surprise the enemy with their numbers and things like that. It makes them less recognizable. Obviously, the anonymity, but the reason for the anonymity is military. Everything they do is military. Everything, all their traditions, all their superstitions are all based on military training, things like that, and military, whatever. So that kicks off the battle in the air and underneath the dragon and in the water, and it kind of reminds you of like a World War II movie with bombs and shit going off. They did it really well. I liked it. The action scene, I thought it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool, right? But yeah, Mando swoops in with the he's in the starfighter, and he just swoops down and just fires a couple rockets at the thing, blows it up, and saves the day. And is the armorer grateful? No, she's just like, you took off your helmet. You know what I mean? You can't kick it no more. And she insists that redemption is impossible because he's got to go down to the mines of Mandalore and bathe in the waters of Lake Minnetonka, and he can't do that because Mandalore is destroyed. Right? The Empire bombed the shit out of it, and it was the year of the 1,000 tears or whatever. And but the Empire and everyone has, this rumor is that the planet's poisoned. The air, the water, everything, it's all poisoned. You can't go there. If you go there, you'll just die, right? That's what everyone knows about this. It's like a known thing. But so Mando pulls out this crystal and he shows her got this relic, and he's like, this is from our planet, and here's proof. And he shows her, and she's like, oh wow. And then she's like, yeah, that is. But she's like, yeah, it might be proof that it's not. She's like, but nah, it's crystallized. So like, this is proof that the surface is crystallized and you can't go there. But if that's what you want to do, go for it. That's your quest. Good luck to you. And he pretty much takes off. But I think the next scene we see Grogu, we see Grogu and Din heading for Navarro. And the planet, that's where Mando once dropped off Grogu and basically rescued him in season 1. And it's like, the scum and villainy, all of that, and it's like a fringe planet. And the planet has come up in the world under the High Magistrate Grief Karga. He's so pimped out, bro. He comes out, he's got the robes, and he's got 2 little droids made just to follow behind him to carry his robe train. I mean, just super fly, and it's known as the gem of the outer rim now, and it's a cool little scene. We saw the clip right earlier, and Grief Karga offers Mando a parcel to land to basically hang up his blaster, but it isn't long before the uh the henchman Vane, the pirate dude, comes up, Gorian Shard, and Vane and his pirates pretty much like roll up, and they insist on him having a drink, for old time's sake, reminding Karga that he paid them for the murder and the mayhem in the good old days, and you know the high magistrate's having none of this. But he shows that he hasn't grown soft, and he pulls out, he shows him his guns. You know what I mean? He pulls out his blaster and he's like, "Look, I might be, you know, the guy, but I still get down." And they pretty much face off in like a duel type situation. Spaghetti western, and and we see that Grief Karga is not none to be played with. He quick draws and shoots the guy's hand, and I had no idea. I didn't know he was raw like that. But in the scene right before that, I'm sorry, I forgot to say, Grogu. We see Grogu using the Force. Remember, Stu. He's been with Luke, and he'd been training.
Yeah, he
And
was with Luke. According to Favreau,
for
he was with
years,
Luke
2
for like
years.
2 years, about two
Yeah,
years.
yeah,
Yeah, and then Luke was saying that it was more like he forgot more than teaching him. So he said I was
right.
basically, bringing his memories back, and he was doing well,
Mm-hmm.
but he chose to come back because he just couldn't. He had an attachment to
Right,
Mando,
right,
which Jedi
right,
aren't supposed to have.
right, right. And Grogu and I'm glad that Favreau did tell us that Grogu had been gone with Luke for 2 years, because if he didn't tell us that, there's no way in the show that you can discern that Grogu was gone for 2 years. We have no way to tell that. It seems like he could have been gone for a few weeks. We have no idea how long it's been. So if we didn't hear that interview, and I know a lot of people didn't see that interview. So if this is news to you, that's why it's not really told in the show. But according to Jon Favreau in the interview, 2 years has gone by, and Grogu's been training for those 2 years. So he's much stronger now. He's got a good control. He's capable. He's got, some new powers and things like that. And we see him do the turns around in his chair using the Force, which is a nod to Yoda. Did the same thing back in the prequels, in that final in the end scene, where Padme's birth is, and Yoda turns around using the Force in his chair, and so Grogu does the same thing. I don't know how many caught that, and he's got steals the little snacks and all of that. But hopefully one day they're gonna show us what went on during those 2 years. It kind of pisses me off that there's this whole 2 year time where Grogu was training with Luke. It really bothers me, man, because the whole thing is saying like, oh, Grogu didn't want to go with Luke. He wanted to go back with Mando. But nah, he was with Luke for 2 years. That's a good chunk of time. Like that could have been a whole show, man. So I don't know what's going on. Hopefully this season we'll see some intercut flashbacks to Grogu training with Luke. I really hope that's the case. And the rumor is that the guy, your boy that plays Winter Soldier, I'm like arm, Winter Soldier is gonna play Luke. The rumor is that he's gonna play Luke in this, and that would be all right. I wouldn't be mad at that. Um, because he looks like him, and he's a good actor. Why not? I don't have no problem. But yeah, so they do the little western. We get the spaghetti western moment out there where they have the little shootout, and but it's also a pirate deal. The these pirate guys are looking very much Pirates of the Caribbean. They've got the nautical coats and buckles and straps. Thank God they don't have an eye patch and a skull and crossbones hat, because I really wouldn't put it past some of the stuff that I've seen Star Wars do with a parrot and a fucking peg leg. I would not be surprised, but at least they didn't go that far. But after the classic shootout, they have an asteroid. They have a what do you call it? Like a starfighter scene. And that's a really great scene. I like that. That really felt like the original trilogy. It was like a good nod to like even the prequel trilogy. It really felt like, one of those starfighter scenes that, from those shows that we haven't gotten much of in any of the Disney shows. So that was cool. I don't know who picked up on that, but that was a dope thing. And they encounter this the Gorian shard, the seaweed encrusted freebooter that looks like Pirates of the Caribbean slash Swamp Thing. I mean, the guy looked like fucking Swamp Thing exactly, but with the long shaggy beard and the way he was walking and everything, it was straight out of Pirates of the Caribbean. Like no shame, just Pirates of the Caribbean, not even trying to hide it, type shit. And but I'm not complaining, man. This was a great episode. Love the show. Warning Mando that that he better start believing in ghost stories because he's in one, right? Oh, that's a different movie. Actually, he demands the Mando's ship, but Mando takes off and basically leaves the Pirate King shaking his fist. And I guess we'll be seeing more nautical naughtiness from the space pirates. I don't know. How do you feel about pirates, Stu? I'm not a pirate guy. They could have left the space pirates are cool. Like, you remember that movie in the 80s? Wasn't there a movie called Space Pirates? Or was it Ice Pirates? What was that movie?
Ice Pirates.
And that was about some space pirates, right?
Yeah, it was good. It was really good.
That was dope. I liked
It's
that
really
movie.
good.
That was some cool shit in the 80s, yo. Ice Pirates,
I
man.
think
Shout out to
I think I have. I think there was a Space Pirates. It was.
something like that.
I think there was a space. I know there was an Ice Pirate. I know that.
Okay.
And Space Pirates. I think that's the one I have. I don't have Ice Pirates. I think I have. I think I have Space Pirates, but I don't have Ice Pirates.
Ice
And that
Pirates,
was
that's
one
the
of
one I'm
my.
talking about. Yep.
That was one of my favorite. Ice Pirates was good.
Hell
That was
yeah.
good.
Robert Urich, Michael D. Roberts. Yeah.
Yeah.
Angelica
Yeah.
Houston was in there. Yeah, that was a funny. I mean, Ron Perlman was in it. Like, it had a lot of cool. Bruce Valanche. It was weird. A lot of weird shit. If you haven't seen Ice Pirates, man, guys, go check that out. 1984, just classic B movie, bad sci-fi,
Yeah,
fucking
Ron
awesome.
Perlman was in that movie, if
Yeah,
I
that's what
remember
I said.
correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
if I remember correctly, he was in that joint.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So.
that joint was good, man. I
Mm-hmm.
went to the movies and seen that.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, I went when I was a kid. I went to the movies and seen that. And
Wow.
Battle Beyond the Stars, that was the other one there was kind of like pirates, but
Uh-huh.
they
Uh-huh.
wasn't. You know what I mean, that was the other one that was like it was like a
And you know
space
what?
pirate movie.
You know what this movie
Now,
really reminds.
Battle Beyond the Stars, I do have. I have that on DVD.
Okay. Well, this movie
Yeah,
really reminds me of Krull, because it's made by the same. It's co-written by the screenplay with the Krull writer. So if you saw Krull, Ice Pirates, it gave me the same vibe. And Ice Pirates is almost like a cross between Krull and like Mad Max in a way. It's weird.
yeah, it is. Crow
I'm
was
sure.
good. I got Crow. I got that joint on. I got that joint on DVD too.
Yeah, I got Krull. I got DVD. I got Krull. Krull is one of them. That's one of my. That's just a classic from the 80s. But
It
Ice
is, right?
Pirates,
Yeah.
man, I have not thought about Ice Pirates for decades, bro. Until just now, when I just thought of that, I'm
Oh
getting ready to
yeah.
watch Ice Pirates tonight, straight up and down.
I got it in my cart on Amazon because I was looking for it on Blu-ray, and I finally
Oh,
found it. I just never hit the. I just never
yeah.
hit the button on getting it, but I think I'm gonna
Hmm.
do the same thing because I haven't seen that movie in years, bro. It was good. It was really really good. It's an '80s gem. That's
Yeah, man.
definitely from the 80s.
I think my pops put me on to that, man. I think salute to my pops, man. I think he put me on the Ice Part. I'm sure he did. I'm sure that's something I watched when it's 1984, so I was 5. So I mean, I probably saw it in '86 when it hit the HBO shit, or probably VHS. Now you know what? We rented the hell out of some movies in the '80s, bro.
Yeah,
VHS
and the
was
90s. Yeah, and the
a
90s.
weekly thing. Yeah, in the '90s. Yeah,
Yeah.
hell
And
yeah.
if it was something you didn't see in the 80s, you saw it in the 90s.
Oh
You
yeah,
didn't get a
and you
chance to
saw it
go
in
to the
the
movie.
'90s on HBO back to back, and then
Or you rented it. Yeah, or you rented it.
or you
That was
rented
one of
it.
the two.
That was
Yeah.
it.
Because you got to remember, if you went from 82 to, let's say, if you went from 82 to 92, that's only 10 years. That movie's
Uh-huh.
still pretty much, that movie's still pretty much fresh. So, like,
Yeah.
like 84, 82 to 94,
Yeah.
that's
Oh
that's
yeah.
the height of the renting era. They had those
Yep.
movies because they put them out. They had to. People wanted to see them.
Mhm.
So you could just go
Mhm.
get them. You could watch ET. You was like, I'm gonna go rent this. I haven't seen. I heard this was
Yeah.
good. Kids don't have that. They don't have that luxury now. They're stuck at the
They gotta
mercy
go
of the
streaming. Yeah.
right of the streamer. And if Netflix
Yeah.
pulls it off, they
Yep.
can't see it. So it's sad. It's like that for them. It's a lot of movies they won't get to see or
Yeah.
appreciate because of that.
Yeah, man. But I don't want to get into it because I'll
Yeah,
go
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about
Me too. Yeah,
blockbuster.
yeah,
Hey, we get
yeah,
into a whole thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But nah,
Yeah, yeah.
back to the Mando episode before I get on a tangent. But
Now
IG-11 is
Mark
back. That
Hamill.
was cool.
You kn-
And
Now
Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill did a stealth cameo in this episode.
Oh, in the costume?
Yeah, he was actually one of the droids. He was a droid. When he goes into the bar, he was talking to the
Right.
droid at the bar. That's the voice of
Uh-huh.
Mark Hamill.
Nice. Yeah,
That's
Mark
Mark
Hamill
Hamill.
is he's a GOAT voice actor, bro. He's one of the best of all time. Straight up. A lot of people don't know that about Mark Hamill. His career he's way more prolific as a voice actor than as an actor.
Yeah, he's done a lot. According to him, I read an article earlier today. He said that
Joker.
as far as Star Wars is concerned, he said he did a lot of stealth cameo voice acting in
Mhm.
Star Wars.
I
So he
believe
said
it.
just go back and listen real close. He said you know it's my voice. You just gotta listen. You just weren't paying attention. But he said he's
Mhm.
done a lot for Star Wars,
Yeah,
voice acting wise.
I believe it. I believe it. And another 80s little joint nod was, excuse me. So they go to Navarro, and they have a statue on Navarro of IG-11. Remember the droid from the Mando, the first season. And so IG-11 sacrificed himself fighting the Imperials. So they put his torso and arm and head, which is still intact, and built the rest of the body as a statue and put it in the middle of the square. And so the statue is made of the actual droid's parts, which lets Mando take it and resurrect the droid. So he wants to bring it back to life, and this is something that Grief Karga's whole team could never do. Right? They could never get. He's like, you can't. He's like, he self-destructed. You can't bring him back, and so I guess we see that Mandalorian is like a super duper engineer, badass, and he brings the droid back to life miraculously in minutes. And straight out of Terminator from the 80s, the droid falls on the ground and is dragging itself by one arm, eyes red, like the scene I'm talking about from the 80s when Linda Hamilton is in the very last scene, and she's on the ground and she's backing away from the Terminator, and the Terminator is just a torso and one arm, and it's like pulling itself towards her like this, and it's coming and it's grabbing at her. They literally replayed that scene with IG-11. It was hilarious. I feel that they milked it a little too long. I feel they went too they were too obvious. He's going around saying terminate, terminate, terminate. It was a little too on the nose for me. I think they could have did a little more subtly, a little more nuanced, but it was straight up homage to Terminator, which is always cool. And so Mando takes the remains of IG-11 to Anzellans, and the little big what are they, Babu Frick, the little Babu Frick species. I love those little aliens, the little tiny guys from Rise of Skywalker. Horrible movie, great characters, some of them. And Babu Frick, the little smaller than Grogu, because Grogu picks one up and he's like hugging it, and it's this tiny. They're little tiny guys, and they're super duper mechanic, robotic, droid, masters, and it's great to see them. And that Mandalorian is sort of continuing the grand Star Wars tradition of delightful little puppet fleshy aliens coming in, all prosthetic shapes and animatronic sizes, and it's a massive, I don't know, it's just cool, man. And sadly, IG-11's memory is fried, and there's nothing they could do. He's out of his mind, so they can't really use him. But we're sure something will turn up. But he goes to Bo-Katan's. He goes to the old Mandalorian planet, and or this other planet. It's Kaliva. Kaliva is the name of the planet, and it's a world in the Mandalorian system with a big Mandalorian castle. And so he goes there, and the helmetless Bo-Katan is just sort of lamping, stretched out on the main throne at the end of the hall, completely alone. There's no one in the castle. She's just by herself, and she's just depressed. She's all melancholy. She's got no dark saber, so she lost the dark saber, which was her symbol of leadership. So she was the leader of man. She was but once I guess that they found out that the dark saber was retrieved from Moff Gideon, because he got it from her originally, that it was retrieved from Moff Gideon, not by her, and she doesn't have it, and someone else got it, and so she lost all respect and from the Mandalorians, and they just left her pretty much. And her forces pretty much just melted away to become mercenaries, and they're off doing their thing. And she's pretty much still mad that Mando inadvertently took ownership of the weapon and defeated Moff Gideon in combat. And she can't really be mad at him because he didn't do it on purpose, but at the same time, she don't love him for it either. And so, she's just kind of depressed, and he's, he's telling her that he's got to go bathe in the waters of Lake Minnetonka, and she insists that there's nothing magic about the waters of Lake Minnetonka. It's just water. It's just and that the mines, they weren't mystical. They just supplied Beskar to the Mandalorians. There's nothing special about it. Your superstitious ways and your clan and your sect is what tore up the Mandalorians in the first place and got us all blah blah blah. And so she gives them the whole, reads him the riot act, and basically laughs at him for what he's gonna do going to Mandalore. But I think that what she's doing is, because she kind of just is like, all right, bye. She's like, see you later, but she says it all slick, like all darkly, like good luck. And I think it's because she thinks that he's gonna die from the poison planet. She doesn't think he's going to be able to do it or make it anyway. And she's just going to go there and scoop up the darksaber from his dead body and, let him go die. So we don't know. Is she an ally? Is she neutral? Is she a foe? Is she going to be a bad guy that he's going to have to deal with? And she basically, just lets him go. So, she doesn't try to stop him or anything. And, he heads to Mandalore, and, I think, what I hope, my theory is that he's going to go there, find out that it's not poisoned, that it's okay, that he can breathe, that it's completely cool, and that all the whole rumor about this place being poisoned by the war is a rumor made up by the Empire, because there's a cloning facility on this planet down in the mines. And my theory is that Mando is going to discover this cloning facility, and that's going to be the reason why everyone thinks this planet is poisoned and you can't go there, because they're doing that so that people don't go there. This is just my theory, but remember I said that. And you know, the it's a lot of there's a lot of, connections between the Bad Batch and Mandalorians with the cloning facility in this particular episode. So episode 11 of the Bad Batch we're going to talk about today, they tell us in this episode that there's cloning facilities that the Empire has all over the galaxy on random planets hidden on different worlds. Coincidence? I think not. But a lot of Easter eggs and things in this episode. It's directed by Rick Famuyiwa, and he's a director usually known for more grounded stories like coming of age dramas like Dope, and the True Story Confirmation, and the TV series The Shy, stuff like that. And that said, he was originally set to direct DC's The Flash movie, that we're about to see someday. But given that film's troubled history, he's probably, glad to be on Star Wars instead. And while in hyperspace, Grogu sees some space whales. All right. This is one of the best Easter eggs, I think, in the show. So a lot of fans who have watched the animated series Rebels, the CGI series and all of that, Rebels, will recognize the whales that they show us in this episode.
Yeah.
The
Yeah, the
whales pop.
hyperspace ones.
Yeah, the hyperspace whales float by in the distance and shit. And but they're called Purrgil. All right, they're called Purrgil, and they're from the show Rebels, which is also done by Dave Filoni. And I was expecting to see them in the Ahsoka show because at the end of, well, okay, might as well start from the beginning, and I'll show you a couple of clips. But they were first introduced in Star Wars Rebels. The Purrgil is one of many types of space whales in the galaxy, and it's a species that's said to have originated the hyperspace lanes, which is confirmed in the show. And the rebels first meet the creatures as they attempt to steal fuel from an Imperial finery, which is also fending off the Purrgils, because they feed on the gas as fuel. And the Jedi, the Padawan rather, Ezra, uses the Force to connect with the Purrgils. And the two groups eventually work together to take out the refinery and get all the fuel and everything that they need to live another day. And I think I do. And I got a little, and so I'm going to show you guys so exactly what I'm talking about. But before I do, but that's not that. We also see the Purrgils playing a major role in the finale of Rebels. Okay, these whales are not just. I'm not just talking about this because, oh, look, there's whales from Rebels. These things are actually a really important part of the story, because at the finale of Rebels, when Ezra calls on them to take out Grand Admiral Thrawn's blockade of Lothal, the Purrgils also kidnap Thrawn and Ezra and the crew of the Chimera, and basically toss everybody aside and take Ezra and Thrawn and just take off. And that's the last we see them. That's the end of the show. They disappear off in the mist and take off in hyperspace, and they're gone. And Ezra's with them, and Thrawn is with them. So I thought, because we know Ezra and Thrawn are already cast and they're going to be in Ahsoka, I'm thinking they know that's going to be the first. So I was really surprised to see these whales in this show. And I don't know what it really means for this show. It's hard to say how this will play into Mandalorian's narrative, or if it's just a fun Easter egg, a little bit of world building that they tossed in. And it also could be laying the groundwork for Grogu to communicate with the Purrgils and do a Force thing, because he previously communicated with other beasts. Remember, like the Rancor and that big rhino thing that but he was, doing mind control on the Rancor and shit. Or it could just indicate, it could just be foreshadowing for Thrawn and Ezra. and it could be in any one of those things. But the Purgils are really important. Okay. Why is it taking so long? Yeah, I probably shouldn't have done that. I had some clips for y'all, man. I got some clips for y'all. But yeah, Ahsoka I think is gonna be a lot like Mandalorian in like, kind of visually, kind of the feel of it. I don't really expect it to be at all like a spaghetti western. I think, and my hope is that Ahsoka's gonna be more of the samurai inspiration, because Star Wars is inspired by mainly samurais and westerns, and then, in space. And so, like, Mandalorian is definitely the western, and so I'm hoping that Ahsoka will be the samurai, because she kinda I mean, it kinda was a little samurai shit going on. When we first see Ahsoka in The Mandalorian in live action, it's the first time she's live action. It's like a Japanese garden, and then the main villain is there in, like, this Japanese garden, and they have this little samurai duel. It's straight out of fucking, Samurai Showdown. So, that'll be dope. And we will take a closer look at Ahsoka's animated history before, and around the time of the show. We'll definitely get into that, and talk about where she was first introduced in Star Wars and the animated series and the Clone Wars, and being Anakin's Padawan, and all of that stuff coming up, and her whole history and all that stuff. And she's a force sensitive. She's a Togruta is the name of her species. She was originally voiced by Ashley Eckstein, which a lot of people wanted her to play her, but I think Rosario Dawson is definitely the right choice. But all right, so here's a couple shots of the space whales that we're talking about. Don't adjust your screen. The glitchiness is there on purpose. This is all for YouTube.
I don't believe it. Found Ezra. Journey. Oh, it's true. They can travel through hyperspace.
Freaking whales, y'all. Space whales. Yeah, so that's what at the end when they sort of and their tentacles got all bioluminescent and they shot off. That's the hyperspace lanes and they're hyperspace whales. And that's where they got hyperspace lanes. So that's the first time we see the whales in Rebels. But this what I'm going to show you next is what you need to see before the Ahsoka show. All right, Ezra is going to be in the Ahsoka show. Thrawn is going to be the villain, and this is going to be where they left off. And this is where this is what Ahsoka's doing. She's trying to find Ezra. She's trying to find Thrawn to kill him and to save Ezra, because last time they were seen was floating off into space on these whales. So check this out. Again, I got it sort of edited so YouTube won't trip, but check this out. Little cool little skit, little scene.
Looks like you lose, Thrawn. Sir, several unidentified objects have just entered orbit. My blockade will intercept them. They destroyed the blockade. Sir, they came out of hyperspace. I've never seen
Said whatever happens next happens to both of us.
the idea.
Oh, of course.
Ezra, can you hear me? The purple, is it you? Yeah. Pretty good, huh?
So Ezra brought the Purgils with the Force. He brought them to come there to fight Thrawn's blockade, and they decided to kidnap Thrawn and Ezra. And Ezra's like, fuck it, I gotta go with him. Otherwise he'll get away. The old granddaddy ones.
They're about to jump into
And see, they all grab onto the
have to
ship.
see this through to the end.
They grab onto the Star Cruiser and they pull off.
I can't do that. It's up to all of you now. And remember, the Force will be with you. Always.
Yeah, so that's how it ends, and that's it. The whales grab onto the Star Destroyer, one of those giant ships, okay? And they grab onto it and they take off into hyperspace. And that's the last we see of Ezra or Thrawn. In any books and any games, and that's the last they're heard from. The next they'll be heard from will be in Ahsoka. But that Star Destroyer is a massive, massive ship, probably the size of a city, right? A small city. So theoretically, Ezra and Thrawn could thrive on there for years and years and years. They could probably, walk around and live on that thing forever as it's floating around. So they're probably absolutely fine. Yeah, Ultra Purgil, right? The granddaddies. Did Star Trek do that with the whales? Does Star Trek have space whales?
No,
Oh.
no. They had Gamchu, which was a space dwelling. They have space dwelling organisms.
Many rentals.
Yeah, many rental. Yeah, that's all
My
they had.
pop.
They never had like a. What's going
Right.
on? What's going on, pops? They never had any like space whales. And they did have an episode with this creature called Gamchu. It was it had a link with with what do they call what Council of Troy's people they called the
Council
empaths.
True.
Yeah,
Empath.
Council of Troy is an
Oh, the
empath,
empaths. Yeah.
and there was a guy they picked up, and he had an empathic link with the space dwelling organism called Gamchu. It was very old, and it was real powerful.
That
And
sounds familiar. Yeah.
that was the Betazoid. Yeah, he was a Betazoid. But that was the extent of what they ever did with anything like a space dwelling organism, like something
Okay.
like that, like a space whale.
Right. Yeah, because these are organisms that don't live inside of an atmosphere. They don't live in a planet. They live outside in space, in the vacuum of space, which is odd. We no, those are actual Earth whales, Nornrad, right? Those aren't you talking
Yeah,
about
those
the
are whales. Yeah, no, those were whales. They were whales from Earth, and they traveled
those are
back in time.
killer
They traveled
whales?
back in
Yeah.
time to get those. Yeah,
What's the Gormanganders? Gormaganders.
Gormaganders. Why does that sound familiar?
Hmm.
Gormaganders. There are
Yes, there is one in Star
there
Trek
are
4.
space dwelling life forms in Star Trek, but they never
Mhm.
really focus on them. Like they do acknowledge the
But
fact that there are space dwelling organisms in
when he
Star Trek.
says there's
They just
whales
don't.
in Star Trek 4, is Star Trek 4 the one where they go back to Earth and back in time? Yeah, the voyage home.
Yeah, Voyage Home. No, those weren't
So
space whales.
those aren't space
They
whales.
were from Earth. They were from
Yeah,
Earth.
those are just actual orcas and shit.
Yeah, those were Earth whales. Yeah, they were blue whales.
Or
Because
blue
remember, by
whales.
the time that right, remember by the time Kirk and them, they had
Okay,
hunted the whales too. Yeah,
he
yeah, they
Googled it
hunted
and it
them up.
said
Yeah,
whales.
they.
Yeah,
Now remember, by the time Star Trek 4 came and Kirk's future, they had hunted all the whales to extinction, and
right,
there was this. They said that the cries of the whales can be heard, which is true. It can be heard from miles away,
right.
and that they called out for help, and an alien entity heard it, and he came to
Mhm,
help them. And when he
mhm,
got there were no whales, so he was going to destroy Earth. So they
mm,
traveled back in time, got two humpbacks, came back to the future, and the humpbacks talked to the alien entity cylinder thing, and it backed off. It left. But if
right.
not,
It was
it was
like a
going to
big
destroy the
cylinder.
planet.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was a giant. Yeah,
the big
if it
black
didn't communicate, yeah, if it didn't
monolith.
communicate, it was like y'all done. Yeah, I don't know what it was. They never
Yeah,
say what it is either.
remind me of the monolith. Um, there's some movie. There's something called the monolith. I don't know. My dad, I know my pops knows what I'm talking about. The monolith. It's like this big, just black shape, uh, in space, and it's just some big entity or some shit. I forget. It's some sci-fi movie. Um, pops, if you're in here, what's the monolith from? Um, but yeah, we touched on Bad Batch. So Bad Batch has dropped in episode 2. So this is a great time, man, for us guys. We got Bad Batch, we got Mandalorian, and we got Wu-Tang is all dropping right now at the same time, and that's a great thing. And this week's episode of Bad Batch, understandably overshadowed by the third season premiere of Mandalorian, is essentially a creature feature. And the creature is one that we've seen before, the Zillo Beast from an episode of the Clone Wars, in which Palpatine wanted to use his indestructible hide, the shell, the skin of it for the Republic Army. But the introduction of a pretty sinister new character, some sidelined old ones, and the tight tension of the episode really makes this a fairly solid outing for the Clone Force 99, even in the midst of a relatively middling season, because it's not much going on. But the new character is Dr. Hemlock, and the old ones are Nala Se and Lama Su, the Kaminoans who oversaw the cloning operation. So again, this is a cloning focused episode, and we saw the well, I guess that's my theory about Mandalorian. It didn't really but there was some cloning talk. But this sort of helps create a more, serialized thread in the background that continuous is what otherwise would just be a sort of monster of the week episode. It's basically a filler episode. But with the Bad Batch's second season continuing to focus on the purpose and the future of the clones within the new empire at the same time. But most of it remains a creature feature. Clone Force 99's presence in the vicinity of the monster is thanks to Sid once again. Though that relationship is becoming rather strained since her abandonment of them during the previous mission. 2001 Space Odyssey. No whales in Star Trek. Yeah, 2001 Space Odyssey. I think that's the monolith. You saw that movie? 2001 Space Odyssey?
Yeah, I saw it. 2000 and 2000.
2010 and 2001, yeah.
Yeah. It
1
was
and 10.
good, man.
Classics.
Yeah, you really gotta you really gotta be on your high horse when you watch that.
That's true
It's good.
sci-fi.
It's slow. Yeah, it is.
Real science
It's
fiction.
it's just a little slow, but it's good.
But I mean, listen, guys, science
But not
fiction.
slow in a bad way. It's like you said, it's just true sci-fi. Yeah, not slow in a bad way. It's just you got to be a true sci-fi fan to watch that.
See, a lot of people want to call Star Trek sci-fi. It is not sci-fi. Star Trek is not sci-fi. It's a space opera. It's fantasy. It's space fantasy, but it's not sci-fi because it's not science. Everything is fantasy. You know, it's mystical powers. It's lightsabers. It's a bunch of stuff that couldn't be done with science, and so they don't consider it sci-fi. Real sci-fi is when they take actual science and sort of advance on it, but it can be explained scientifically. Intergalactic is a great one. All right, what is it called? Intergalactic? No, it's Interstellar. That's
Interstellar.
Science movie. Yeah, that's one of my favorites.
Interstellar was good, man. That movie got a cult following. That movie got a straight cult following.
Bro, if you ain't seen it, watch it again. That's one of my favorite joints. Because it's mad underrated, but it was crazy.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. I can't take nothing away from it.
But yeah. What do you think about the Bad Batch this episode?
I thought it was good, man. It gave a lot of homage and payback. I mean, not payback and shout outs to there were a lot of Easter eggs in it. A lot of them were from the Clone Wars.
Right.
The beast that was on that ship, from what I understand, Darth Sidious had it cloned. He wanted to use because the armor, the beast's hide is impervious to all energy weapons.
Right.
And I think he wanted to make clone armor out of that. Like he wanted to use that the hide of the beast to make clone armor, so then the clones would be pretty much unstoppable. The scientist dude on the ship is the one from Mandalorian. He's the one that had Grogu, but just an older version or younger version than this. And they also had what was the name of the clone lady that made the clones? She was there too. And they didn't want to. They was holding her captive because she didn't want to work for the Empire. She just
Nala Se.
She just refused to work for them. So they were holding her there captive as well. And then the monster got bigger and showed its true form. It was a great episode, man. I really liked this episode, man, because it was a lot of. If you were a real Star Wars fan, this was a good episode for you.
Yeah,
because it paid. It went real far with the Clone Wars, and it told a lot. It even had the one base where the Emperor kept, like his clones, and you saw like his little experiments and the relics that he had there. He had rare lightsabers and everything there. It was a real good episode. I enjoyed this one like a lot. Too much. Only thing is with Sid, I'm getting sick of Sid, man. But
I know.
I understand, like why they need her, but I'm getting sick of Sid because every chance she gets, she burn them. Right, she burn them, and then they come back, like, but they don't have a choice. So like,
well, she's a clone too, and blah blah blah. But it's Disney,
Right. It's
they gotta have a Disney princess. They gotta have a little girl. There's always got to be a little girl character. We saw it in Obi-Wan.
Oh, you mean Mecca? No, I like the little girl. I don't like Sid.
You like the little girl? Oh,
yeah, I like the little girl. I like Sid. I don't like Sid. I don't like Sid.
The big
Sid,
guy?
the green lady that they
Oh,
always
the
talk to.
the green, the fat green thing. Yeah, the
Yeah,
blob
the
chick.
green
Right,
lady.
right, right,
Yeah,
right, right, right. I thought you meant the
yeah.
kid Omega. Omega.
Now Omega, I like Omega. I
Oh, you
like.
like
I
Omega?
just,
Okay.
I just wish that I'm with you. I just wish they stop letting her play the princess and just come out and say that she's force sensitive. They won't say it. And I don't know what they're holding on to it for, but we know
Mm.
she is. We just want to, let it just come on out, man. Let it go. Let the cat out the bag.
I didn't. Yeah, yeah, because clones can definitely be force sensitive. We know, because we know, what you call it, Snoke was a clone, and he was force sensitive. So
He was
it's
extremely
definitely,
powerful.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, Palpatine put all that power into him, so they can. I mean, Palpatine created that clone to be force sensitive, which is crazy. So we got to see the science on that, how Palpatine's able to make the clone force sensitive. Maybe he's injecting it with midichlorians.
Remember,
Uh,
what's your name was force sensitive too. He
who-
actually wielded the force. Star Killer. Star Killer was a clone.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Yeah, the second one was a clone of the first one, right?
Well, I read that they got the DNA. Like if it's in your DNA, it's just there. But I read in one of the Star Wars comics that, and some Star Wars nerds told me this too. But I don't know how true it is. But you can
Mm-hmm.
take it with a grain of salt. This is the best
Mm-hmm.
explanation that we got. I do know for a fact that they found Luke's hand
Mm-hmm.
in after
Yeah,
Empire.
right.
Now, some
That's what they
Star
say.
Wars
That's the
nerds
rumor,
told
anyway,
me,
right?
right now, some Star Wars nerds told me this is the rumor
Uh huh.
that that's where they got the original DNA for Star Killer, uh, Palpatine. Like he mixed his DNA with Luke's DNA, and then because
Right.
they got it from Luke's hand, and that's where he came up with a bunch of the clones that he had. I mean, and that part I don't know, but I do know they found Luke's hand because Luke
No,
went back
that's
to
the
look for his
theory.
lightsaber.
That's the
Yeah, Luke
theory.
went
That's
back to
the rumor.
yeah. Now that's the comic book. Now the comic, Luke did go back and look for his lightsaber. He really did that. He really did go back and look for his lightsaber. And it was him, Lando. They went back to Cloud City and they went to liberate Cloud City and to get those beings off of there with the things on the back of their heads. And Lando was real worried about them, especially the one him and Lando was like real cool. And Lando told
Yeah.
him he'd be back. And so I have the comic, which is actually, if you can get that comic, I think it's like Star Wars number, oh, it's either 3 or 11, something like that. One of them two. It's between 3 and 11. It's one of those two.
What, of the
But
first
it's either
volume?
one of nah, the new ones that came out. They came out with a
Oh,
whole new series
new
that filled
yeah,
in the plot holes. It was just called
yeah.
Star Wars, and it filled in the plot holes of anything that happened in Return of the Jedi, Star Wars, but mostly it just filled in plot holes. And like one of the questions people asked was, how did that one chick with the big eyes in the new movies? How did she get Luke Skywalker's lightsaber when we saw it get chopped off? His hand get chopped
All
off
right,
and it fell
pause.
down. Right.
Yeah.
It fell down into space. So he was like, yo, well, in the comic, he went back to Cloud City looking for it. And he actually got it. And then that was the whole gist of the comic of him going
Mm.
back and Lando. Him and Lando got into it, and Princess Leia. They actually weren't. It's a good comic, man. But it's hard to
Yeah,
find.
it
It's
is.
really hard to find now because when people saw
Just go
that, they
on just
bought
go
them
on
all
eBay.
up.
Just go on eBay.
Yeah,
Get on eBay
might
right
be.
now.
Yeah, you might pay a little bit
It's on
for
there.
it, but
Yeah, you gonna
no,
pay
it's on
for it, but
there. You're gonna
it's
pay
on there.
for it, but it's on there. It's on there.
Well,
So
are you talking about the new Star Wars, the newest one?
yeah, it came
'Cause
out
there
about 2 years ago, about 2 3 years ago, and it was just made to fill in plot holes.
yeah.
And it did that. It really did that. Like I've read up to maybe I say maybe issue, I don't know, I say maybe issue maybe 10, 12. I collect them for a little bit, and then I don't know what made me stop.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a few volumes. There's a few volumes. Um, but I think that one is where is it? No, that's not it. Well, anyway, Check on eBay; they'll have it on there. They always have it on eBay. But so yeah, the is this what? Yeah, that's it. Okay. So we have this new Imperial bad guy, Dr. Hemlock in Bad Batch, who seems to be taking over for Rampart after Palpatine threw him under the bus. And Hemlock is overseeing some special cloning research for good old Palpatine. And he wants to help a familiar, he wants the help of one of the Kaminoans, and Nala Se is the main Kaminoan scientist in charge of the cloning program. And except the doctor is not so eager to help the Empire after they destroyed her home and her civilization. So that's why they have her like in the cell, and they're holding her hostage because she doesn't want to do it. But it doesn't matter what Hemlock says to try and convince her. She knows what Palpatine wants with cloning, and she doesn't want to help. Like, she knows what he's trying to do, and she's not with it. And meanwhile, Sid contacts the Batch, who are not happy about how she left them stranded with no ship. And Omega feels betrayed, and she lets Sid know in a scene that's been 2 seasons in the making, really. And sadly, as Tech later explains, they can't simply sever ties with her because she knows too much about the Batch. That's the thing with Sid, yeah. And instead, they agree to do that one last job, which they force Sid into paying them for extra for, and a simple scavenging of a lost crash landed ship. But what follows is a fantastic horror centric episode. That's like, I keep using the term creature feature. It was just very like a horror show, like a horror episode. Aided by the always great Kevin Kiner, who delivers a great, fantastic atmospheric score. He's a dope musician. He's always doing the dope scores. And that helps sort of build the dread as the Batch slowly makes his way through the eerie corridors of the abandoned ship and all of that. And, not that Star Wars hadn't done horror before. Clone Wars had a zombie episode, and an H.R. Geiger inspired episode. There's a bunch of novels that there's like Death Troopers, there's Red Harvest, there's a bunch of zombie trooper horror what do you call it, Star Wars books. There's like a Darth Maul, it's called Lockdown, that's super dark. So they have done some cool shit. And there's like a full-on Alien homage in this one too, the Alien movie as well, not the movie Alien, and it's dope. But honestly, it's kind of infuriating because I cannot be mad at a show that keeps promising it is about to be done with the adventures of the week if it also delivers a spooky episode with a xenomorph looking alien with big teeth and seemingly no eyes sneaking around a spaceship. But it turns out that it's no xenomorph, of course, but it's a very familiar creature, one that Tech reminds us already wreaked havoc in Coruscant when it attacked the city, when it attacked the power grid, the Zillo Beast. And that, what makes this behemoth scary is that it not only looks and acts like a xenomorph, but it feeds off energy and electricity and shit. And the more it consumes, the bigger it grows as it evolves like a big Pokemon. And as Tech discovers, the Empire cloned it in order to experiment with the creature's DNA, because they want to make the energy weapons, they want to make the armor, like you said, Stu, with the energy weapons and shit that have the Zillo Beast's hide that's resistant to energy, because that's what they feed on. And so the moment they realize that the fight is futile, something that they can't win, Hunter orders a retreat. And sadly, they also blow open a hole in the ship trying to escape and let the Zillo Beast free near a town where it drains the power and grows larger and larger. And so it's not just an alien homage, but it's also a kaiju episode. So they're really trying to touch all the monster bases here. And for a hot second, the episode even makes it look like a good and triumphant moment when the Empire battalions show up, until they start chasing after the batch and rounding up every resident of the village because they saw the Zillow beast, because it's a big, they want to keep it classified. But it's a simple yet incredibly dark moment later when a commando says that the citizens will be dealt with. And it turns out Palpatine himself ordered the cloning of the Zillow, but way before he became emperor, he was still Chancellor Palpatine. And this was during the Clone Wars. Right. And Tech speculates that Palpatine knew of the potential of turning the beast into the weapon if they got the right scientists for the job, meaning that the Empire did not destroy Kamino to get rid of cloning. They did it so they could become the only ones with the cloning equipment. Right. Monopolize the shit. And at the end of the episode, Hunter decides to deliver all the data to Rex and Echo so that they can see what they find and but they really stay on the sideline. We don't know, probably not, but not for good reasons, and not for the reasons that we might have hoped. But we cut back to Dr. Hemlock as he receives another guest from Kamino. It's the former prime minister. This is Lama Su, also a Kaminoan scientist, and he agrees to help the Empire convince Nala Se to join the research in the exchange for his own freedom. His suggestion is to seek out a female clone, the key to controlling Nala Se, which is Omega, and having the bad guys be obsessed with capturing Omega yet again is kind of the weakest possible way to bring the Bad Batch into the larger story, and really just sort of reminds me of Obi-Wan and Reva chasing little Leia, and I cringe. So I hope that's not the case, but it's been a decent season so far. It was a cool episode. I had fun. I like horror episodes. I like when they do that. Yeah, Dr. Aphra is dope. That's a really good.
I bought some of them joints. I never knew nothing about Doctor until you was talking about. We were talking about out here. You was breaking it down. So when they counted the comment, I went and bought the joints.
Yeah,
I read them. It was real interesting. Yes, I don't know if the series still going.
No, it was a low. It was a low print run. It's hard to get. They're expensive. Dr. Aphra books are not everywhere. They're not cheap. I mean, they cost a few bucks. And Dr. Aphra is like Darth Vader's archaeologist. It's dope. It's dope. It's a whole dope concept. It's a really cool character, and I really hope that they, we get some Dr. Aphra in either an animated or live action show. That would be really dope. Hell yeah. But yeah, that's the Star Wars mess. And so, like the t-shirt says, check that shit out. How perfect is that? Grogu and Wu-Tang, and it's Woo War Wednesdays, and we talking about Wu-Tang and Grogu and Mandalorian. And so let's talk about Wu-Tang. Let's move on to the clan. Slade. So this episode was pretty cool. It's the final season 3, the Wu-Tang finale. Not a whole lot to say about this. Just it's a You God episode and a Deck episode. It was a heavy Deck
it's
episode.
It's about the lesser known. It's about the lesser known members. It was a lot about the lesser known members and their struggle. To get their albums out and the things they went through, like with You God and his son getting shot, Inspectah Deck and his album coming out, how his album was supposed to come out first, but it wasn't. And how RZA, like everybody was telling, RZA, he's telling people RZA do the beats, that's the deal they had when they started out. RZA was the beat maker. He did the production, and you had to get in line and wait. You got what was often quoted as saying that, like RZA did beats for whoever he wanted to, when he wanted to, instead of doing
that's how supposed to do it. That's how You God felt about it. That's how You God feels.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's what he said. But How
That's
you
what he
know?
said.
Well,
Yeah.
it's his opinion, but
It's his opinion.
you got to understand too that he is related to Jizza and Old Dirty,
Yeah.
and you got would often say, he get their stuff out, but he don't get other people's. But RZA is quoted as saying that when it came down to come to the studio and do what you got to do, you got was never Johnny on the spot like the other dudes
Right.
was. So it was
Right.
a back and forth thing between them, and I
Right.
believe both of them. And I can't. I'm not gonna sit there and say
You
point the
got
finger
to.
at one more than the other. But I
Yeah.
would just say that
It's probably true
I
from
would
both
just
sides.
yeah from both sides, right? That because he always said that he'd be like, well, when it's time to come, bring your dopest lyrics and
Mm-hmm.
let's go. Because he's often quoted as saying, getting all you got about bringing it when he come to the mic, like
Right.
like coming with some dope lyrics.
Mm-hmm.
So
And you
it was
got
a good episode though.
and it was. And the last episode, the end of the last episode, you got they're on tour. You got gets the news that his son is shot. So this is the episode where we see him come back to New York. He's looking for the guy that shot his son and all of that. He goes to the hospital, he's bugged out, he's looking for the guy, and he's outside the dude's door with the pistol, getting ready to get busy. And then we switch back over to Deck. And Deck, Inspectah Deck's first, he was supposed to have the first solo album that was supposed to come out because Deck was the one that was on the 36 Chambers the most. And Master Killer was only on one track. And so there's another part in this where again it's about Master Killer and Raekwon having their little beef that we also touched on in the last episode on the tour episode because Ray got mad that Master Killer was on the tour and that RZA was making him a member because he felt like the pie was already split 8 ways. Now we got to split it 9 ways. And he felt like Killer only had one verse on the song and he's not really a member and what the fuck and blah, blah, blah. And he had some beef. And so in this episode, Ray approaches Killer and he's like, listen, man, I was bugging, but, I just want you to be more. If you're going to be in the group, be in the group, bring it, write some more shit, get serious about it. Don't keep treating it like a little side thing. Because they show Master Killer actually denying that he's in the group in the barbershop. Like he's almost embarrassed to be a rapper. He's like not really involved. And then we cut back to Deck. And so Inspectah Deck, again, he was supposed to have the first album out. His shit got ruined in the flood. Now they're moving on. Now RZA's moving on to Ray and Ghost's album, and Deck is kind of put back to the wayside. And so he decides to go into RZA's studio. Not very smart, but I get it. I mean, I respect his hustle. He goes in RZA's studio, teaches himself how to make some beats, and makes his own track. Because Divine scores the Wu-Tang soundtrack deal for the Tales from the Hood movie. You remember Tales from the Hood?
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
And all that. It was
that was a dope. I got that
you want
soundtrack.
the shit?
Good
I
soundtrack.
got the shit. Yeah, you
Yeah.
want the shit.
Oh, you want the shit?
You want the shit?
Well, you
Oh,
gonna get it?
you gonna get the shit.
Yeah.
So they had the track on there, the Wu-Tang track, but it was Deck's track, and Deck did the beat, and Deck, killed it on the verse. And RZA and Divine were like, yo, because they felt bad that his album didn't come out. They were like, you can just we could just say this is as a Inspectah Deck track and just put the soundtrack Inspectah Deck. And Deck says no, put the Wu's name on it, make it a Wu song. And he basically gave it to the Wu. And we get a cool shot of the Twin Towers in the background with Deck standing outside of the cab, and he's talking to his uncle. And his uncle wants him to invest in his taxi cab medallion, right? And cab medallions can be worth $200,000, right? A cab medallion can be life, a job for life. You can
Life,
pass
yeah.
your kids, your grandkids, and shit. And so he's like, he wanted to invest in the medallion, and he was thinking about it, and then he started talking to him about the Wu-Tang, and his uncle had no idea he was involved like that. And he's like, yeah, I just went on tour. He's like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, no. He's like, I'm serious. And his uncle was talking, and Killer's really thinking about being in the Wu, and his uncle, after hearing all that, his uncle's like, wait a minute. He's like, fuck the medallion. He said, I rescind the offer. He said, I don't even want you invest in this medallion. You need to go be a musician. You got an opportunity here. You got a big chance. go fucking write some songs. And so Killer's like, yeah, and he goes off to do that. We cut back to Deck spitting fire, and Deck's track that he puts on there, it kind of has like a little West Coast vibe, because remember, Snoop and Dre are real big at this time, and Deck was like a real dope rapper, bro. He could do all styles, and
Yeah,
Deck
he
had it.
could.
It was a little West Coast
He
style in
was
there.
on
That's the West
he
Coast
was on
movie.
two yeah, he was on Tupac's. I remember Daz, I watched the interview and Daz said
Yeah.
he was on Tupac's Got My Mind Made Up. And he said Deck
Uh-huh.
came in there, like he said the way he came in there and did it, like, they was talking because he said back in those days when Wu-Tang would come to the West Coast, they would go get him. Like they was like that was
Yeah.
their crew, like that was their boys. And he said they were talking one night and Pac was like, yo, I'm about to do this remix. You want to get on it? And Deck was like, yeah, come on, let's go. And they went and got on the remix. I Got Your Mind Made Up.
Yep.
But they said when they played it back, Deck killed it. Like they was like, yo, his verse on it was so hot. Tupac was like, I gotta pull him off. He was like, I can't put this out. Yeah. He was like, I can't put this joke on here. And he didn't outshine the whole, like, right. He said the song, he said it, and Tupac said it's dope. That's the whole thing. It's dope. And he was like, but I can't put it out because it's he said he killed it. He said Inspectah Deck killed the joint. So he put it out without Deck on it. I think Redman was on it too. But he said I had to cut.
Yeah.
He said I had to cut Deck's verse out of there. It was like Marshall Mathers getting on Renegade. And he did kill it, but Jay-Z didn't cut it. And everybody talk about how he got on there and murdered
Eminem murdered you on your own shit.
The old track. Yeah, that's true. But now that's like a thing now for MCs. You can't get on there and outshine the main MC on there.
Right. That was the whole.
You might get.
I
got LL and Cannabis. That was another one.
Cannabis was another one.
Yeah.
And LL was like, nah. But so we get to see the WooWare store in this episode too, which is cool because WooWare was dope.
Cool. Yeah, WooWare was dope. Yeah.
I used to wear
and you can actually still buy WooWare. Just type it in your URL, wooware.com. It comes right up. They got a whole line of stuff on there.
Yeah. Speaking of clothes and WooWare, I got to say a big shout out to my man Vintage Rush, and he was on the show. We had him on the show not too long ago, and he was on here and showing us his t-shirts. And he's got an amazing t-shirt company. I mean, like bananas. I'm talking about graphics that cover the entire shirt, not just a graphic in the chest. I'm talking about the graphic be all the way up to the neck, all the way around the back, down to the sleeve, down to the end of the shirt, the whole thing with a big comic book, like a whole page out of a comic book or a whole cover, like just gorgeous shirts. The t-shirts are like super duper high quality cotton, and they sell for around $100 just for the t-shirt. There's some vintage ones that are going for around $3,000. That's how dope these t-shirts, man. So Vintage Rush, you can go check him out on Instagram at Vintage Rush _. And he's definitely one of our sort of sponsors right now, because he's gonna be hooking me up with a little bit of merch for the advertisement. Let me put his thing up here for y'all. So go check him out, man, on Instagram. I'm telling y'all, you'll lose your mind, bro. It's really bananas. Like the t-shirts are like, I can't get enough of them, dog. They're crazy. rushxbeyond.com, and then at Vintage Rush on IG. Yeah, I had to do that, man, because that's my homie right there, and he's hooking me up with the joints. But so Wu-Tang, so WooWare, yeah. So we get to see Power, and he opens up the first WooWare store in this episode, which is monumental. That's a very important moment, because when he goes around trying to sell WooWare to the department stores, they're not really biting because it has no hype. Like it's got no word on the street. Nobody's talking about it. There's no demand for it. And so to create demand, the genius idea of just open a WooWare store, its own store, and that'll create the demand. and then you'll start seeing Wu Wear in the department stores. And you did. I used to buy Wu Wear out of Dillard's and shit like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, they made and all of that went to Power. Okay, so Ollie Grant, Power, is a behind the scenes guy from the Wu-Tang. He's not a rapper. He's behind the scenes in management. Him and Divine, RZA's brother, they run the business side, and Wu Wear is completely his. Like that's his whole. Like he put all the. He's the guy. He was the dope man in the beginning that put all the money up to get the Wu started. And so his sort of payback for that is he is allowed to make Wu Wear and make whatever he can make off of it. And he made millions of dollars. I mean, fashion is one of the biggest money makers. That's why rappers always have a clothing line, because it's a fucking huge $100 million industry. And so Raekwon and Ghost are standing outside of the Wu Wear store, and everybody driving by is playing the new Biggie remix. Everybody's bumping Biggie. The remix to One More Chance is all you hear right now on the street, and they're outside like, what the fuck, and they decide right then. That's when Ghost is like, yo, we gotta write this shit on the beach, man, like on the island. And they wrote the Purple Tape in like Barbados or some shit, like in the island resort on the island, because RZA sent them down there to get away and write their album. And they wrote it with that vibe, that tropical beach resort, Scarface vibe. That's what you hear in the Purple Tape, is sort of that Scarface mobster vibe. And that's where they wrote the album. And Ghost's baby mama rolls up, and she's bumping the Biggie song, and she's bumping the remix. And Ghost is like, yo, what you bumping some, you ain't supposed to be bumping no non-Wu shit. It's funny. And the DJ comes back on the radio, and then they play it again and again. They playing the Biggie song again and again.
They did. Y'all played that joint hard. They played it.
Yeah, man.
They played it in the hole back then.
Yeah, and so, and that's when Ray was like, okay, we've been on tour, and these cats been sort of running with the globe. They sort of blowing up, talking about Biggie and Puff, and they're like, we got to come out. Like, it's our time to shine. He's like, we got next. And they dap up. And they did, man. The Purple Tape comes out, and I can't wait to that episode where they really get into that, because Purple Tape is one of my top 5 favorite hip hop albums of all time. Up there with Illmatic, Reasonable Doubt. Yeah, Ready to Die, probably.
Ready to Die, yeah. Oh.
And Me Against the World.
Helter Skelter's first album. Yeah, it's up there.
Nocturnals.
Yeah, that was a hot ass album, bro.
Yeah, it was dope. OGC.
Yeah, they had their little cult following too. They had their little.
Oh hell yeah, bro.
Yeah, they had their cult following. Yeah, they had their time.
We were big on OGC and Boot Camp and all of them.
Yeah.
Smith and Wesson, all of that shit.
Cocoa Brothers.
All that shit. Yep. All that good old shit. So, but yeah, the Star Wars Jedi Survivor evolves the Metroidvania roots of Jedi Fallen Order. The one of the big departures in the Star Wars Jedi Survivor compared to Fallen Order is that you're gonna have this home away from home in Planet Kobo. I think it's gonna be like a hub or something, but because you would revisit Bogano and Dathomir a couple times in Fallen Order, but it was always in service of progressing the story and following the main plot. But apparently in Survivor, Kobo will sort of take a sort of Metrovania-like identity with tons of optional areas to explore, locked by progression and stuff, and each return trip to the planet opening up many new pathways and discoveries and like different shit to find and probably weapons and all kinds of shit. And this came out of one of the lessons that I think Respawn learned from the feedback of Fallen Order that, players really enjoyed that optional content, like the crashed Venator and the legendary beasts like the Ogoro, Bogoro, and all of that, and the I think one of my big takeaways from the preview build of Jedi Survivor was that the rewards for taking a detour away from the mainline quest path was always really rewarding, and I like that. And I'd regularly find tough battles and stuff like that to be a chore, but if they give you good skill points and shit, and you get good, items and all of that, it's always worth it. But yeah, I think I'm excited for this game. I'm really, as you can tell, I'm thinking about this game all the time, and reading about it and shit. But I don't know who's played Metroid, but Metroidvania that I mentioned is from that game, from Metroid. And it's kind of like a giant Metroid-like world, apparently, that you can explore and shit like that.
Oh, you mean Jedi Fallen Order?
Kobo, yeah, not Fallen Order, but Survivor. But speaking
Jedi Survivor.
specifically about the design goals of Kobo, the lead level designer said that Respawn wanted to create a planet with a dense central area that players could have fun gradually opening up more and more. And like while playing through Kobo, you kind of would get the sense that it's almost like a mixture between Firelink Shrine from Dark Souls and the Metroid, a world from Metroid. And and like Firelink Shrine, the cantina at Rambler's Reach served serves as like a central hub that NPCs could congregate at, with multiple different areas within the cantina that could open up as you progress through the campaign. And then, outside of that, there's this big Metroid like world to explore. And it's supposed to be not open world, but open area. And the Metroid vibes apparently are not an accident, because the designer said Metroid inspired games at their core are about discovering new abilities and then using those abilities to pass obstacles, unlock more regions, and eventually develop a sort of intimacy, understanding, or dominance over the game world. And he said, we wanted to make sure that we evoke these same feelings from the player in our open spaces. And to do that, we made sure that every time the player revisits one of those regions, there would be lots of new things to discover using their newly acquired toolkit. And he also added that the team, wanted to address a couple of pain points that players had while exploring Fallen Order and the testing, and they moved the Mantis landing pads to more central locations on the planet so that players would have easier access to all the different regions that the planet has to offer, and
that's a great thing. They said they added fast travel points too. Yeah, that's bruh. Listen to me. Playing that first game, listen,
bruh.
that was the one thing that I hated when you were on a planet. And some of the planets you had to go to more than once.
Right.
And you had to go from like one side to the other, and you like, damn, I gotta walk through this whole
The
thing and
whole
fight
shit.
the same. Yeah. So like if it was as fast, listen, I was happy when I heard him say that.
Yeah. Fast travel, if you for anybody wondering, it's like it's so you can sort of select the place you want to go to, and you just click the button and you just warp there, and you're just there. You don't have to like walk through along.
Yeah, you don't have to go
Part of
through
the
and
game,
fight every enemy.
right?
Yeah, fight every monster all the way there till you get there.
Yeah,
you need fast travel.
Yeah. And according to the developer, the team took great care to ensure that the player never needs to use fast travel to complete their journey, but it's definitely a valuable tool for those who want to explore every inch of the game world. Because I'm the type that when I play a game, like I explore every fucking square inch of the place. Like people like my son get mad at me. Like I'll be walking around. I walk around the whole edge of the place. Like I'm looking in every bush behind every rock and looking up under every, you know what I mean? That's just the fun of the game to me, is like exploring and finding shit, finding secret treasures and paths and all kinds of cool shit. But a good Star Wars game, man, is really, we really have been needing, because Fallen Order is really the only one for a long time.
Very long time.
Since Coder, really, since Knights of the Old Republic 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the last great Star Wars game.
Yeah. Yeah, because we haven't had one. And the one we did have that was like it got canceled, and they actually finished it. It was a Darth Maul game.
Right.
They just didn't give it to us.
Nope.
Which is still out there somewhere. Hopefully we can. I don't know. Hopefully somebody do something. Yeah. Hopefully somebody do something so we can get it.
Oh, so I got this the other day. Well, yesterday.
That's dope. That is dope. Is that the Snake Eyes?
Yeah, that's the dope. Snake Eyes. That's the Snake Eyes with the scarf. He's got the green sort of jeans or whatever, the green army pants.
That's the Middle Eastern version.
I know. I love that. It's like the Middle Eastern desert scarf.
Desert. Yeah, desert. Yeah.
What's dope is he's got his signature Uzi 9mm.
Uzi. Yeah.
And it comes with the silencer that comes off and shit.
Shout out to Hasbro for the detail, for the attention paid to detail.
The detail, son. Look, he got a pistol. He got a pistol on his leg that come out of the holster, and you can put the silencer on the pistol, and the holster got a spot for the silencer. Come on, Hasbro. Shout out, come on, man.
Shout out to Hasbro for that. Yeah.
Good looking, and then he come with this. He come with timber.
Timber looking like he ready for action.
He ready. He got two different heads. You could put on the head where he's just looking cold, and then you got the head where he's snarling and growling and showing his teeth. But he's got the scars and shit. Now, what's crazy about this dog, I just want to say, we've all seen like plastic animal toys or whatever. They never have articulation. I mean, they're just stiff, right? They never move. They never have any sort of articulation. Let me tell you something. This thing got more articulation than the figure. The tail move, the shoulders, the hips, the knees, the ankles, the feet, the thorax, the shoulders, the head, the shoulders, the elbows, the wrists, and the paws. Bro, it's like 30, it's like literally 20 some points of articulation on the dog.
That's dope.
Yeah, they really did their thing, man, on that.
They just stepped up the game on dogs.
They really did. They really did. And it's a whole bunch of weapons, man. He came with a whole pile of guns and different grenade belts and all of that shit. And then I got Apocalypse on the way.
A new one?
I got the Marvel Legends one, the one I was showing you.
Oh yeah.
Bro, I've been wanting that figure for so long, bro.
I did see a Marvel Legends I did want the other day. I can't remember. I think it was. I'm still looking for Doctor Strange. Can't find that. I want that one, and I want Namor. I can't find Namor. I find everybody else but Namor.
But I thought you said you got Namor.
Nah. I wanted to get Namor. The only one I can find is. I'm lying. I did find a Namor. I found one, but I didn't get it. And then I went back, and they had it. I was like, damn, they didn't have it anymore. I was like, damn, I should have got it. Like, damn.
I thought
I didn't get a Namor yet. I'm still looking for one. I know I can go online and get one, but that's going to be my last resort.
All right.
The Marvel Legends figures, I like I don't know. There's two kinds, I guess, now. I don't know. Maybe they changed the packaging.
That's the one I got. I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. That's the animated series joint. You got the card back, but that's the animated series joint. I love this one. That face is crazy.
Yeah, that's dope, man.
That's dope. Apocalypse.
Too bad they botched him up in the movie, man.
Movie was
Damn.
horrible.
Yeah,
Nah,
man.
legends are dope, but you don't. But I don't keep no. See, I don't collect no legends that are from the movies. Like these are movie characters. I have no.
I don't
All
know.
my legends figures are from the comics. I just don't really like the movie ones. See, like this blob, I need that. I need that. That's see, look at that. That's straight out the comic book. I
Yeah, that's
need that
dope.
blob.
Now that
I
I would
need
get.
I need that. Hold on. I
That
need
I
that.
would get.
But yeah, I don't do the movie ones. Like see, I don't have any Thor. I'll get this. I see, but this is a little 3-inch one. I don't need the I don't do the little ones, but that's a dope joint. This is good. This is fire, dog. Yo. See, I need a
Yeah,
black suit. I don't have no black suit Spideys. So I need this one. I don't have a black suit Spidey. That's the card back joint. It's pre-order.
that's dope.
Yeah, I like that.
That's what he want. I wanted the Kang. That's what I wanted. I wanted the Marvel Legends Kang. Yeah,
What the movie Kang? The
yeah,
Quantum Mania? Yeah, that's a dope.
yeah,
That's
yeah. I
a dope
wanted that
one.
one.
If
That's the one.
if I would ever get a movie one, that's one I would get.
That'd be the only movie one I ever get.
Yeah, that's a movie one I would get. Um, but that's about it. And only because he looks just like the comics. I need this. I still need this one. Spiral.
That's dope too. Spiral. Yeah, I take that too. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I thought that was a build a figure when I seen it.
No, that's dope.
Dope.
That's a pre-order too. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess it's a reissue because she's already been out before, but yeah, I need that. I'm so
Yeah,
glad they're
that's better.
reissuing it.
I
Yeah.
am too. I'm so glad. Yeah, some of them need to be reissued because the earlier
Mhm.
ones aren't as good as the ones they put out now.
Right.
Like, like with the
Yeah.
articulation and just the
Yeah. No.
not
No.
even it's just the attention paid to detail
Right.
is my thing. Like for some of them, they just paid a lot more attention to detail.
This is another one I got coming too. The Dark Phoenix retro. Love it. Love that
Yeah,
shit. Got the retro card back packaging. That is super dope. Fucking dope. But I know what you mean. The DC multiverse have a more detailed sort of look. They're more realistic
yeah,
though. They're more of a realistic detailed look. Um, but these are dope. Look at the Null. Oh wow, he looks good. Oh, that looks great.
that's
That looks
what's his
great.
name?
No.
That's the no, yeah.
And then Winged Venom. So this is Venom from the Null movie or from the Null crossover. The King in Black. Sorry, King in Black is what it's called. And that's King in Black right there. His name is Null. And he's the king of all the symbiotes. Yeah, that was a great run. That was a great event, Marvel event. Who is this motherfucker?
With the
And
helmet
who is
right there.
this motherfucker?
Mm-hmm.
Who is this looking like Black Manta?
Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantum. Future Ant-Man.
It's weird. Future Ant-Man, huh?
It look dope. Mhm.
Yeah. Look better than the current one. That's pretty cool. I don't I don't know about it though. And who's this egghead motherfucker? Who is this? Oh, egghead. Okay. Man, it's egghead. Marvel's egghead. That Falcon's dope. That classic Falcon is dope.
I want a Falcon, man. I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
waiting on to bring out a good one so I can get it.
This is on sale for $16. It's an outlet deal right there. There you go. That's a dope. That's a comic book Falcon too. See, that's what I would get, a comic book Falcon versus the movie one. I don't like the movie figures. I don't know. Oh, I need this. I need Havoc. I need a Havoc. That's Cyclops' brother right there. Professor X's son. Oh, I need this. I need the Scorpion. That's the shot. Look at that.
I seen the older one, but the
Bruh.
newer one looks much better.
This is nice. Yeah, this is nice. Yeah, this is nice. Yeah, that's dope. And then this is the Kang, the comics Kang. See, that's the Kang I would get.
And see, I'll definitely get that one.
Yeah,
And that one is doper. That one is much doper than the other one.
yeah,
I would get both of them though. But I like that
yeah,
one. I like the head on that one better. The head on
yeah,
if you took
yeah,
that head and put it on that other one, the Jonathan Majors one, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I'll do a little kit bash. Yeah, I'll do a little kit bash. Swap the head. Now, what is this?
Oh
What
yeah, they
suit?
reissue Iron. They reissue Iron
Mm,
Man too. But I don't it's they got I think it's Mark 23 suit or something. Got a reissue. I don't like
This
it.
is the no, this is the Model 70. Yeah, I'm not crazy about it.
Mm.
I don't. The only Iron Mans that I ever get are the original, like the old school Iron Man. That's the only one I
Oh
really like.
man.
Yeah. Oh, now this is dope. That looks cool. Oh, it's a 3 inch. Never mind. Never mind.
That's why it's so dope.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I need Toad. I
Too.
need Toad. Bruh. See, I'm an X-Men guy, y'all. So to have the X-Men characters like this, that's what I really want. I want a dope. I want all the dope X-Men. Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. So you got to have Toad, you got to have the Blob. You know what I'm saying? You got to have those classic Evil Mutant Brotherhood Evil Mutant characters. That's a dope Cyclops. Astonishing X-Men version from Astonishing X-Men. I like that.
That's the dopest one I've ever seen.
This one, the dopest one.
Nah, the Cyclops. Yeah, that's
Uh huh.
Cyclops. That's the dopest one ever. There's two. There's one, the newer one from the newer one from the new X-Men series, and those are the dopest two I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah, that
new.
one. The one you got right there, I got that one. I have that one. And that one right there on screen, those are the dopest two I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's the one. That's from the Krakoa, the new the new comics, Krakoa, Dawn of X shit.
Where'd you,
I do
where'd you get a
love that.
stand? Where'd you get a stand for that joint?
That's a DC stand.
Oh, they fit on there?
Well, I make them fit. The
Oh, okay.
what do you call it? The little peg on
Hmm.
the little peg on the DC stands is much taller than the hole in the Marvel figures because the feet are smaller. So the hole is a lot deeper on the DC figures. And so you got to take like a little pair of pliers and just snip a little bit off of the tip of the peg,
Hmm.
and that way just snip it
Yeah, it fit.
till it fits in deep, and there you go. And
I've been looking
that
for
way I can
stands for
do
my.
dynamic poses like this.
Yeah, I've been looking for stands for my Marvel. The
Well, there
ones
you
that I
go.
do have.
Just take your DC stands and modify them. And then I love this Cyclops too because he's got the jacket on and he's
Yeah,
just
that's a
chilling.
dope one too.
But that's the OG, the OG costume, but with the jacket. I love this one. I love this one too. But yeah, I like that one. I need to get this one too.
Yeah, I need to get that one too.
Hmm. Yeah, Norin, that toad is crazy. Oh, cool. They got a Dr. Doom for the little 3 inch joints. I was gonna collect the 3 inch joints. They're cool, but for 10, $12, instead of getting two of those, I'd rather get a 7 inch figure. It's the
Yeah.
same price to get 2 of these little I don't think they should
Yep.
be 12. I think they should be $5. That's all they're worth.
Yep.
$5, I would have bought the shit out of them. Cause I mean, look, I'm at Dollar Tree for $1.25 buying the mini Transformers, and they're dope. So, but I love this. I love this War Machine. Again, comic book version, card back. It's got some great features. It comes with the cannons. It comes with the blast features, so you can see, the fire. The what do you call it right there? The missiles. I love that. Look at that. The rockets coming out. How
Yeah,
dope
that's
is
dope.
that? That's
That is
dope.
that's
That
real
shit is
creative. Yeah,
good.
whoever did that, I take my hat off to him.
You know what I mean?
You get a big salute on that one for real.
That's hard. That is dope. And then the other cannon right here. But that is cool. The 3 rockets. And then what else? Who we got? Who is this? Baron von Strucker. Huh. And that's the builder figure. So Baron von Strucker, Hydra, the Hydra guy. This is a really cool detailed looking figure. I like the monocle, the scar on the face. He's got the classic comic book costume. I love that kind of shit. Now here's the Jonathan Majors from Loki. Again, I don't see the movie ones just I think what it is the face trying to look like the actor always looks weird to me, and that's why I don't like him. I think. Also, the suits are never as cool. They're not as iconic. I think that's really what it is. I want that iconic comic book suit when I have it on my shelf, the display. I want to see the comic book version. Like there's a Zemo from the movies, and then you got Baron Zemo from the comics, and this is the one I would
Yeah.
buy. You know what I mean? Like that's Baron Zemo from the comics. It's iconic. It looks better on the shelf. That's just my opinion, though. I mean, listen, I'm not knocking nobody. And then there are exceptions. Like I will fucking get the Moon Knight.
Now Moon
Yes.
Knight, I would get. That's dope. I seen
Yeah.
that. I gotta get that. I gotta order that joint.
Yes.
Now
Yes.
that's hot. That's a hot Moon
That's
Knight.
hard.
And I'm
That's
not big on
dope.
Marvel Legends. Only certain ones. Certain ones
Yeah.
I feel, and I might be wrong, but certain ones I feel they
You
do
are.
better than others. Like they do them so
No,
well.
you're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong about that.
Okay. Yeah, I
You're
thought
not.
I was tripping because I know
No,
some people they collect them no matter what. They be like, yo,
I
you should
don't.
have knew. I be like, I don't know, bro. I'd be like, I don't know if
Uh,
they can get my $24 on that one.
see, like somebody asked me one day. They were like, they were looking at my figures, and I need the Shocker.
Yeah, Shocker is one I've always wanted.
Yeah, I need
I've
that.
always wanted Shocker. But the
Yeah,
older one, I always see the older
love
one.
the
That
suit.
one right there, Reno, I would buy
Yeah,
that one.
yeah,
That Shocker I would get.
definitely. I like the card. The Spider-Man. This is from the Spider-Man animated joint, and I love all the characters from that, all the figures from that. Because I will get animated animated movies and show figures. It's just, but comic book and animated, like the X-Men animated series. Then you got the Uncanny X-Men. This may be the next Wolverine I get because y'all know I got every Wolverine that they made. That's kind of what the one Marvel Legends I'll collect no matter what is Wolverine. When they come out with Wolverine, I buy it no matter how it looks because they pretty much all look good. That's dope. So it's pretty rare to get a Wolverine without the mask on. All the figures come with the mask on, so it's cool to have one without the mask now that I've got all the ones with the mask. But that's dope. I need that. What the fuck was I saying though a minute ago? I was about to say something. I had a really good point. So somebody
We talking
said to
about
me, yeah, they
that.
said, why don't you get, they were like, how come you don't have like all the iconic characters? Like you don't have all the Avengers, you don't have like the original Spider-Man, like you don't have all the iconic figures. Like when I look at your shelf, it's like a lot of like weird characters and shit. And the reason is because I don't buy Marvel Legends for the character, I buy it for the figure. If the figure
Yeah.
is dope, I buy it, right? Like I don't like if the figure looks dope, it might even be, I've bought figures I didn't know who they were. I did not know the character. It was just such a dope figure. I bought it and I learned about the character and then I became a fan of the character. But I buy them 100% for the figure. Now, if there's a character I really love and the figures, it's good, I'll get it. But other than that, I'm only buying figures that are super dope, that are amazing on their own. Like this is just too plain. I don't buy plain shit like this. It's just real plain. There's nothing to it. It's like you're not gonna get my $20. Well, that's why it's on sale for $14. But some of them are really
See the ones
plain.
that came in that package, the ones that come in the newer one where you can't see them.
Oh, the new package.
They stepped those up.
Yeah,
They
those are
stepped
great.
those up. Yeah, those right there that come packed like that, they stepped them up. The other ones that came in the one where you can see, they're hit or miss always.
No, these are hit or miss too. A lot of these with the
No,
cover like this.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. I'm still my opinion is still the same on all Marvel Legends.
Yeah.
But I will say they did step it up a little bit. But some of them, they either hit or miss with me, man. I'm like you. I won't get them all. It's just certain ones I like and certain ones I just won't.
See now, and then there's situations like this. Okay, this is a figure that is not really that interesting to look at. It's a character that was never really cool to look at, but I will absolutely buy this figure because it's fucking the Molecule Man. All right. Do your research. The Molecule Man is like potentially the most powerful being in Marvel, period. Like Franklin Richards level. Okay. The Molecule Man has the potential to manipulate the universal reality as we know it. He can do your research. Go to YouTuber, go to Comics Explained and type Molecule Man in the search and find his Molecule Man videos. It'll blow your fucking mind. So Molecule Man is one of those characters that just based on the merit of the character, I just got to have Molecule Man up there just because it's fucking the god character. He's a very obscure guy. He was around back in the day and they pretty much stopped using him like back in the day. So he's not really that well known, but check out Molecule Man. He's a goat. He's a goat. Corsair. That's Cyclops' pops right there. Havoc and Cyclops' dad. This is a figure that I would buy only if like after I have like every figure I want. Like I get it just because it's from the X-Men animated series and it's like an iconic character, but again, that's only way after I have everything I need. Let's see. Oh, cool. What is this? Is this from the animated show? What If? Yeah, this is from What If. It's from What If. Yeah, Zombie Hunter Spidey. That's crazy. But I don't really like the suit. I don't really care for that Spidey costume. I really want the original. I want the Spider-Man Amazing Fantasy 15. Oh, now this is a dope Moon Knight too. I will definitely buy this. Fuck yeah. Look at that. Mr. Knight. Bro, that's peak.
Yeah, that's dope. I would get that too. I would get all three of them if I can get them.
Hell yeah. That is peak. Mr. Knight, I have him displayed with the Screamer sticks. Yeah, fuck yeah. I get that. Who else? Oh, I got this put up. I got this hidden at Walmart right now. I got this hidden. This is dope. That Red Skull. Red Skull.
That's a dope Red Skull.
That's hard.
Bro. That's phenomenal. Yeah, that's phenomenal.
That is
with
hard.
The cube too. That's good. That's hard. Yeah.
I'm
I can go for that.
I'm at that. I got him hid at Walmart. He's hidden behind. He's hidden behind. because I know ain't nobody here watching this in my town. It's down on it's hidden behind the Batman, uh, the
Mm-hmm.
Robert Pattinson Batman car is down on the bottom
You
shelf.
go
I
there.
got Red
You
Skull
go there
sitting
to
right back.
you
He
go there to
waiting.
you go to that store to pick it up and it's gone. You know somebody watched this show on your town.
Yeah. Hey, but look, the build a figure is fucking Conchu.
Yeah, that's dope. And the
That's
Contra is dope. It's tight.
beast. See, yeah, I mean, if you get the Moon Knight, you got to get Mr. Knight, you got to get Moon Knight, and you got to get the Khonshu build a figure. Here's goofy ass Loki from the show.
Now you can go on. You can go on next. Next.
Mhm.
Next. Yeah, next.
That's the
Next.
type of shit. That's what I'm saying.
Let's
I
go.
can't.
Let's go. It's
Yeah,
hot. That's tight. I can do that.
yeah, the Red Skull. I need that. Who is this? Oh, Fang. Yeah, Fang would be one of those that I would get like again after I get a bunch of the X-Men. But this is one I would need because it's an X-Men, and it
Yeah.
goes with my Sabretooth and Wolverine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, I got this. I
All
mean, obviously, I got this. That's Wolverine with the heated claws. His claws are like red hot, and that's my favorite. That's one of my favorite costumes, and that's the Build a Figure. So that dude right there is from X-Men. Here's your boy right there.
right. Killmonger.
Yeah.
I didn't keep that one. I don't like it. It just
Michael
look.
B.
Uh,
Michael B.
it don't look
Jordan.
good.
See,
They
look at
could have
that.
did a better.
Look at that.
Yeah,
Come on, bro. I'm not with it. I can't.
yeah, they could have did a better job. They
That looks
just
cool, but
like that. Yeah, but
yeah,
I don't know. It still just look kind of
I
basic.
still, yeah,
I
I'm
wouldn't
not.
buy it.
Yeah, all these movie ones, I'm not with it. I have this one. I love this one. This is great. I love this
That's
figure.
dope. Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah, I
I could
love
do
that
that.
figure.
I can do
Yeah,
that one.
that's the OG.
Yeah, I can do that. That's,
Yeah, I
that's
got
cool.
him sitting over there next to Doctor Strange and Iron Man. Here's your Telecon.
Yeah,
They
that's what
got
I
him
want.
at
I
my
want that.
Walmart. He's at my
You do?
Walmart, bro.
I
Yeah.
want that Telecon name more.
Bro, go on.
That's,
He's $18 right here on sale. That's cheaper than Walmart.
I know.
Entertainment Earth
But
right
it's
now.
just,
18.
yeah, but it's the shipping. I gotta get free shipping. Well, you know what? Nah, because I could buy a couple characters and get free shipping. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go in there probably the weekend. I'll probably go in there the weekend and knock it out.
Kid Omega is another character that is like monumentally powerful. He's super Omega level mutant, reality warper, molecule man shit, Franklin Richards shit. He can pretty much do anything that he puts his mind to. But it's not a great looking figure,
Yeah, I
so I
like Kid
probably
Omega.
skip it. Yeah, Kid Omega's a great character. I got Hammerhead. He sold out. That's funny. Yeah, I had to get gangster. I had to get the gangster. He got the pinstripe gangster suit and the baseball bat. I was like, yo, I gotta cop that. I got that, and I got the hobgoblin at the same time. Love the
Okay.
hobgoblin. Love the hobgoblin from the
Yeah,
from the cartoon. Yeah, love hobgoblin.
I'm dope. Yo,
Multiple
man. Anyway, man, I gotta
man.
step off, man. It's time for me. I gotta start getting ready for work, man. It's getting late.
Yes, sir. All right, man. We're gonna call it a night. We just on here fucking off anyway. I think we just got homies in here chilling, kicking it with us. But yeah, man, that's our show, guys. Come back Saturday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as y'all know, every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday at that time. This Saturday we have who's coming on? Oh, Marvel Legends Collector. Yo. All right. Real quick before you go, Stu. Y'all got to go on Instagram to the Legend Collector. Yeah, that's what it is. Boom. Go check out the Legend Collector, the biggest Marvel Legend collection I've ever seen, Stu. He has to have every one that they've made, including Galactus, including 2 of the giant Sentinels. All right, his Galactus is this tall. He's got the 2 Sentinels. He has some giant some giant shelves, bro. And I'm telling you, there's hundreds of Marvel Legends. I won't be surprised, not even a little bit, if he has every one that they've ever made. So he's coming on Saturday, and he's gonna kick it with us. He's cool cat, and he's gonna show off his gems. So get ready for that, y'all, and we will see you then. So have a good night, y'all. Peace.
Peace.